The Battle of Roanoke Island. The war fought on a cursed island. On War Unfiltered, February 7th, 1862, rain, fog, and freezing winds slam into the North Carolina coast. Union soldiers whisper that this island is cursed. Locals tell them this is where the lost colony vanished, hundreds of English settlers gone without a trace. Some men swear they hear voices in the fog. Others claim to see shapes moving through the trees at night. White figures, barefoot, silent. But there's no time for ghost stories, because in the morning, the Union is launching a massive amphibious assault, one of the first in American history, to take Roanoke Island from the Confederacy. What they don't know yet, this battle will be short, brutal, and controversial, and for some, unforgettable for reasons that have nothing to do with the enemy's rifles. This is the Battle of Roanoke Island. Unfiltered, early 1862. The Union needs a win along the Atlantic coast. The Confederacy is using North Carolina's barrier islands to protect trade routes, blockade runners, and supply lines. Roanoke Island is the key, a narrow strip of land barely 8 miles long, sitting between the mainland and the Outer Banks. Whoever controls this island controls the entire Albemarle Sound, one of the most strategic waterways in the South. Union General Ambrose Burnside. Yes, that Burnside, the man who the term sideburns were named after. Well, the general launched the Coastal Division, 13,000 men backed by a fleet of gunboats. His mission? Cut off Confederate supply routes and choke the Eastern Confederacy to death. The defenders? About 3,000 Confederate troops, half of them Green volunteers, backed by only 1,500 North Carolina militiamen and a handful of artillery pieces. The North has numbers, naval firepower, and tons of momentum. But the South has the terrain. The island is a swampy choke point, perfect for ambushes and last stands. And then there's the law, stories of vanished settlers, ghost lights, and soldiers from both sides reporting disembodied voices echoing through the marshes at night. Whether superstition or something else, morale is shaking before the battle even begins. Burnside splits his forces into 3 brigades and lands under the cover of fog, a risky, almost reckless move. The Confederates are dug in along a narrow causeway, the only solid path through the swamp. Here's the grit. The Confederate defense is a kill funnel, one approach, one line of earthworks, artillery positioned to shred any direct assault, but the Union marches straight into it anyway, because Burnside has one thing the Confederates don't: gunboats. Union warships pound the Confederate flanks, shaking the earth and shredding fortifications. Confederate cannons overheat, ammunition runs low, some positions fall silent altogether. Then Burnside launches the infantry. Regiments crash into the Confederate line in waves. Union rifles speak, bayonets flash, men slip in the mud, and the marsh turns red. Confederate defenders fight hard. They know surrender means losing the entire coast, but they're outnumbered, freezing, and running out of powder. Within hours, their line shatters. Roanoke Island falls, a strategic defeat for the South, a morale boost for the North, a critical victory that helps tighten the Union blockade. But the battle isn't the part men talk about years later. It's what they saw, before and after. Union soldiers describe hearing whispers in the trees, but in languages nobody recognizes. Some swear they saw pale figures standing knee-deep in the marsh, watching the battle without moving. A Confederate picket reported a woman in old-fashioned English dress walking the shoreline at dawn, then fading into the fog. Northern officers dismissed it as exhaustion, but the Southern locals didn't. They said the land keeps its ghosts. Then there's the Union soldier who wrote in his diary, "I saw wounded men crawling across the field, but when I ran to help them, there was no one there." Whether hallucination or haunting, these stories spread like wildfire. Roanoke Island becomes more than a battle. It becomes a place soldiers don't want to stay at night. And when the war ends, veterans tell their families, "I can face bullets, but that island had something else on it." Roanoke Island wasn't glorious. It was a lopsided slaughter disguised as strategy. The Confederates were outgunned, outmanned, and undersupplied. Their defensive line was too small. Their cannons were outdated. Their leadership begged Richmond for reinforcements and got silence. Burnside didn't win because of brilliance. He won because the Confederacy left Roanoke to die. It was a sacrifice, not a stand. A decision that cost the South the entire Carolina coast. Sometimes history tries to dress this up as heroism, but the truth is uglier. Men died because one side was forgotten and the other side couldn't afford to lose. Here at War Unfiltered, we like to challenge the record by exploring alternative history, what might have happened if events had taken a different turn. So let's dive into what could have unfolded on Roanoke Island. What if the Confederates had reinforced Roanoke Island? If they held the Albemarle Sound, the Union blockade would have had a massive hole in it, allowing European-supplied weapons to flow in for months longer. And what if the island's geography wasn't a natural kill zone? Burnside could have walked into an ambush. The Union could have suffered another humiliation, like Ball's Bluff or First Manassas. And here's the strange one. What if the lore is true? What if the vanished settlers, the lost colony of Roanoke, weren't a mystery, but a warning? If the land itself is hostile, if soldiers really saw things out there, if the marsh keeps its dead, then Roanoke Island wasn't just a battlefield. It was a place that chooses who stays. Roanoke Island sits at the crossroads of American myth, the lost colony, the Croatoan carving, tales of ghosts in the marsh, one of the Civil War's first amphibious invasions, and a quick, brutal Union victory that reshaped the coastal war. It's easy to forget this battle, overshadowed by Antietam, Gettysburg, and Shiloh. But February 1862 is not ancient history. It's 6 generations ago, meaning people alive today had grandparents who heard the ghost stories firsthand. America's first lost colony, America's bloodiest war, and one island sitting in the middle, filled with rumors that never quite die. Roanoke Island wasn't the biggest battle of the Civil War, it wasn't the longest, and it wasn't the deadliest, but it was one of the strangest, a place where strategy, slaughter, and superstition collided, a Union victory built on mud, cold steel, and overwhelming numbers, but haunted by something older than the war itself. Roanoke Island fell in a day, but the stories never did. Thanks for joining us at War Unfiltered. In the comments, tell me your thoughts of this battle and the lore of the island. Did you ever hear these stories? Were you lucky enough to hear them from family members? I'm always excited to talk history, so I'll see you all in the comments section. Oh, and please like and subscribe for new videos. It does help our channel grow, and it allows me more time to create things for you all. Till next time, take care of yourselves.